Yo, what's going on, everybody? Watch list for November 27th. This will be for Wednesday, and then Thursday's a day off, and then Friday's only a half day, so might be a bit of action tomorrow, and then Friday's usually kind of a nothing burger. Given that Thursday is off, a lot of people don't show up, so volume's kind of muted. I could start it off here with the message I sent to my pod group this morning at 9:40, 10 minutes into the open. I said the most amount of frustration I've ever felt in a morning session. F me. So I think it's good. Let's dive into that and where it stemmed from, how I dealt with it, and yeah. So where it started was basically woke up around 4:30 my time, 7:30 Eastern. Let's go right around here, and I see Qubit starting to fail, and then it just completely gives up the ghost. QBTS follows it. RGTI had put out an offering that kind of dragged the whole sector with it. QMCO was dribbling. So all of these quantum names that I had on watch for A-grade setups, first red days, were completely coming apart before the open. So that kind of messes with the pattern, because now if shorts are chasing the weakness into the open, on pops after the open, shorts are getting popped, and those usually last a bit longer than you think. And I think that's evident by this pop. Did fail off a red green, and then the fade back to pre-market lows, but came right back for a final squeeze and clear out. Same thing with Qubit, just never died because shorts were just in there, and then QMCO actually trapped them the whole morning and squeezed everybody out. So with those gap downs, that I already felt a bit of frustration in my gut, where I'm like, I wasn't happy with the way that that was setting up. And then SMCI was into the open, was setting up pretty perfectly, was doing a slight gap down, but very close to red to green. So nice sideways action into the open. We got a little blowout here, 7 a.m., pullback, starting to chop around here. So I'm thinking, okay, any sort of pops versus 3850s, red to green area. And literally, the opening minute goes from 37.70 down to 35.50. $2.20 pull in 1 minute, which, like, on the watch list from yesterday, I'm looking for a $3 to $4 pullback. And when 80% of that happens in the opening minute, I'm like, okay, well, there goes another move that I just missed. And I've got 4 setups that I was coming into the day prepared for, and they're not acting as I wanted. So then I go over to Vuzi. Now this is the 5th one I had on watch. And now this one is setting up perfectly, exactly how I wanted it. But I can feel that frustration just leaking over from those other setups. And although this chart looks great, I barely even had size on it. Like, it was maybe 1/8 to 1/10 of the position that I had borrowed for in the morning. So even though the executions look okay, we got that morning strength, pullback, we got these wicks, and I'm thinking to myself, like, a lot of times I like to trade 2 or 3 names, so if 1 or 2 of them doesn't work, I've still got 1 working that can make up for those losses. And now that 4 of them aren't working, and this one, I'm like, is this one just going to squeeze me back? And I'm getting in my own head about it. So I start seeing these little 1 minute wicks, and I'm like, oh, that looks like it's soaking, which it was. Every pullback was getting bought up. Ask was getting swiped. So I had put 1 order out at 251, and then I had about 30 to 40% of my size up here at 254, 255. looking for just one more pop, and then I was looking to scale on a lower high once the lows pulled and broke down. So I'm battling here, waiting for 2 cents higher, when in reality I'm looking for like a 50-60 cent pull back to the daily 4 EMA. So does 2 cents really matter, or should I just get in? So that was a mistake on my end. And then I tried to slam it through lows and get the rest of the size, and only got a partial fill, and then just never got an uptick back up into it. And then right here, so these ones were just straight down as well. So in hindsight, all of my size should be into these two candles, and then maybe one last scale through here to see like whatever else I can get on as the trade's working. But fighting for a couple cents and not putting risk on when the trade is there is definitely a mistake on my end. So it's still a single. I probably about a 2/3 R on that trade off of like a 1/10 size. So it would have been a nice winner, but is what it is. So those are my mistakes from today, and where my frustration came from. Now, looking at Xena here, going from 2 to 12 in 2 days. Nice move. And same kind of thing that I would be looking at on QMCO, was looking for 19 to fail. And this one gapped down into that $14, which was the goal from the watch list yesterday. So the goal on something like this would be like $6. So if this is gapping down from 9 to 6 tomorrow, then that would also just void the thesis. But if this wants to exhaust up into or through 1050s, or if it wants to prove $8 as a top, I'd join either one of those. But as long as pops stay red, I don't hate this for a first red day setup. RCAT day 2 faded a lot better than the first day. Unfortunately, I just was not involved in this. Decent little failed fall through setup, but this is exactly what it was doing yesterday. If I go over, right here, where we got this pull, chopping, sub VWAP, and looking for this rollover. So it was doing the exact same action right here, the chopping, bouncing ball, sub VWAP, and I just didn't trust it just because it did the exact same thing yesterday and didn't work. But I guess it worked out the crowd yesterday and then was as clean as can be today. So more peak frustration. Master and MSTU continuing their rollover. Nice quiet faders. IDAI, big percent gainer here from today, squeezing out after hours. No real plan on this one tomorrow, but just keeping it on watch. IMGN, I do have a setup that is tradable on this, where it is a big enough gap up with overhead resistance. So it's not a day 1 gapper anymore. It's now a day 2 gapper, and then with overhead resistance looming, I like day 2 gap and craps on something like that. So it would be higher the better. Ideally like a 150 shove, and then look for a round trip. And then LX, this one just hit scan here. The weekly chart's really nice, and then the daily is just a big ABCD. Minus this little blip. It did take out some prior support, but still bigger picture, higher lows. Zooming out to the weekly is a lot cleaner now that it's broken here through $4. This one must have had news. I didn't really look into it much. I just saw the chart. The company announced its board approved an amendment for a dividend payout policy to increase the payout ratio. The company reported Q3 financial results. So let me pull up this. LX. November 25th aftermarket close was the earnings date. No real reaction to it. But big picture wise, like this doesn't really have any China names moving with it or pulling it. This one seems like it's moving independently now. And now it's got two fundamental catalysts. So now you've got earnings pushing it, and you've got the dividend increase pushing it. So possible week opens versus $4, and would like to see a bigger picture break through that 470s to really get going. But I think I will keep it short and sweet, especially after my frustrating morning. I don't really want to harp on it too much. I just kind of want to move on to the next. It was a day full of opportunity for me, a lot of A-plus setups for my style, and just kind of botched it. So, is what it is. That's how you can tell that just making money and being green doesn't mean anything, because you can trade poorly and still make money, and it feels like this. Your thoughts on UAVS pre-market and opening actions today? I saw it just because it was a breakout yesterday. So if you got like week opens that held $5 over under, I would have looked to join that trend. But with the big gap up and the history of this name, it's just a piece of trash. So my thoughts on it would all be hindsight. Like I see this failed follow through momentum setup where you get the squeeze out, you go high a day gets set, high a day clear out, $7 over under $7, 7/10s. And then $7 becomes top again, looking left. So you get this little head and shoulders action. So any sort of pops or short here, as long as VWAP stays heavy, is a decent little risk reward trade. But it wasn't really anything I was looking to trade personally. It just wasn't quite extended enough for me. But nice little move. Yeah, Luke had a good call out on Master the last couple days. Call doesn't mean nothing if you didn't trade it though, so hopefully you had a nice swing trade or have been joining that trend to the downside. OPTT, nice move after hours. Bunch of overhead here too. Throw that on with IDAI just to keep it at tabs. But yeah, I think I'll keep it short and sweet and just hop off and do my best to disconnect and try to be fresh tomorrow. So looks like Thanksgiving is coming in a timely manner. So thank you guys for stopping by. Get in where you fit in tomorrow, and let's try and make some memories. And then I'll probably see you back. I doubt anyone's going to show up Thursday evening for Friday, but I'll probably be here. And then if anyone wants to watch the recording, but it's not Thanksgiving for me on Thursday. We had it a month ago, so I don't mind doing a few minutes, but I doubt anyone will show up. So thanks guys for stopping by. See ya. Peace.